Here we go with 2028. Some people say, why are we talking about 2028? We could be talking about Minnesota or healthcare because I want to. Gavin Newsom was had Ben Shapiro on his podcast. And like any good guest on Gavin Newsom's podcast, Ben turned the tables and started interviewing Gavin Newsom. It happens almost every episode.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because Gavin Newsom's not a podcast host; he's a governor and a politician.
That's part of the reason. But like Ezra Klein did it too. It's just a natural thing.
I think he sort of likes that too a little bit more.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally.
Yeah,
I totally agree. But I listen to the show and it happens every time. And all of a sudden, and then one of them will be like, "Hey, this is your show, ha ha." But Governor, let me ask you 10 more questions. Anyway, Ben, it's a long thing. I recommend the whole thing to you. But Ben Shapiro initiated a long colloquy. We're gonna watch the whole thing about can a boy become a girl? And as soon as I saw it, I said, put up my tweet first. As soon as I saw it, I said, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to get messages from people who say, that was great. It shows you how great Gavin Newsom is. And I'm going to get messages that say, this shows why this guy will never be president. You make the call, as they say on whatever that thing was called. Here it is. It's long. Watch the whole thing. And then Larry and Heimer are going to tell you if that was Newsom at his finest or foreshadowing doom. Roll tape.
Fundamental question that lies at the root of all of this is the question that you're not wanting to answer, which is whether boys can become girls.
Yeah, I think I'm for the grace of God. Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the sympathy.
Why?
I also feel terrible for listen, anybody who's suffering with any sort of
I mean, I think it's been the case for
terrible,
generations, for time immemorial. God bless. I don't know how.
Why is this a hard one? I just don't understand.
Because I don't know why it's such a. Why is it such a? I'm curious. I understand the political potency of it.
It's not just politically potent,
but it's just how it's so few. We're talking about so few people.
It's not about
that are struggling with gender identity issues. A lot of remarkable people, a lot of wildly successful people, and they've gone on their life, have incredible lives. I don't know. There's so much hate and bigotry, so much condemnation, much judgment.
This is the part where I start to object.
Yeah.
Okay. The idea that
you may not be spewing it.
No.
Like some others. Trust me.
But
this is the business they're in.
There are lots of terrible people who say lots of terrible things. But
yes,
it is not an act of bigotry to say that a boy cannot become a girl, nor should my children be taught in K through 12 public schools that a boy can become a girl.
Yeah.
That is not an act of bigotry. That's an act of rationality and biological simplicity.
I respect your point of view, and
but does the state?
Good people disagree on this.
I know, but
and a lot of states, not just California, well-established rules, by the way, that predate me. Again, this is not where I started. We're campaigning and advocating on these issues, as some suggest. And look, I'm with the Governor Spencer Cox, who said about many of these issues, never so much attention been placed on so few people.
And the problem is, I do think that on an electoral level, to go to the politics, it is a barrier to entry for a lot of people. When
I agree with that.
When you say a boy can become a girl. And then just on a realistic.
And by the way, I respect if that's your barrier to then listening to people on a myriad of other issues, so be it. It is what it is.
I just find it strange that even if you wish to have a public policy that pursues something different, we cannot just admit that boys and girls are two different things and that a boy cannot become a girl. Why is this so difficult?
Yeah. I understand your point of view.
And
I also respect Caitlyn Jenner. I do.
It's not about respect for individuals.
Well, no.
Okay, I'm going to tip my hand before I ask Jaime, then Larry, what you think. Make this finger my interlocutor, and this finger will be me. Mark, did you rob the subway on President Donald J. Trump Avenue? There, but for the grace of God. I love Caitlyn Jenner. Anyway, Jaime, if you looked at that, would you say, well, that man is destined for the Oval Office, or would you say this shows why there's so many doubters?
Look, you guys, I very rarely disagree with the great Governor Gavin Newsom, but I do not respect Caitlyn Jenner, and not because of her gender, but because of her politics, and I just don't like her. But look, I think your tweet was right on par, Mark. I think people will get from this what they want. He was, because this is the beginning of the primary, the mini primary, I think he was fairly politically astute to not go on the record and have a specific opinion on this. But I agree with Gavin Newsom. This is a conversation that I think has taken a world of its own. And I think we're spending far too much time talking about people's gender. I don't understand it. I'm not looking to change my gender. I'm a male, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to understand it. And quite frankly, I don't care if particularly an adult has made a choice to transition. Now, when we talk about children, we talk about gender affirming care, that's a different conversation. But the right to choose your gender and to move forward transitioning, that's your choice. I don't want to be in your bedroom. I don't want to be in your doctor's office. Quite frankly, I don't want to talk about it. And so I think Gavin Newsom is setting Democrats up for that conversation, out of my bedroom, out of my house, and it's not your business. And I completely agree with that. Granted, once people transition,
I got to stop you. I got to stop you. I apologize. I appreciate all that. Interesting to me. How do you think the governor did in explaining his point of view?
I thought he.
If you were his advisor, would you want a do-over, or you thought that was great?
No, I wouldn't want to do over. I did not. I think he was great. I watched you a second ago. You did a little shifting. It did feel like he was shifting a little bit. But to your point of your tweet, I think everyone will grab something from this interview and they will say he was right or he was wrong.
Yeah,
and so he was both.
And I will say one of the smartest Republican strategists I know texted me and said, I thought that was amazing. That shows that guy's got game. Larry, I bet I know what you're going to say, but surprise us all.
With respect to those who think that this showed Gavin Newsom had game and that this was a great performance, I think what they're conceding is that Gavin Newsom is skilled at being slippery and evasive and not getting nailed down on a politically volatile issue. And yes, that may be a political tool that is phenomenal and he should be praised for it. But what you're admitting is, see, he won't tell the truth and he won't admit a basic fact of life. And that's what this really does boil down to. We are not talking, Jaime, with respect, about someone's personal choice and what they choose to do with their lives. We're talking about public policy. He is a governor of a state that has some of the most radical laws in favor of transgender rights. And what he just did there, in his very slippery way, was lie. He has actually overseen and signed into law incredibly restrictive laws with regard to parents' rights. He championed making California a transgender sanctuary state for minors crossing state lines to go to that state to get procedures that their parents back in their home state won't allow them to have. It's absolutely outrageous. And when he said, I didn't, campaign on this stuff, the first time anyone ever heard Gavin Newsom's name was when he defied state and federal law to marry same-sex couples in San Francisco. He has been riding the tide of support from the LGBTQ plus community for years now. So it's disingenuous, everything that he said. He's trying to slip away from this, but he won't ultimately, because most people that don't subscribe to the Gavin Newsom podcast see that and see it for what it is. He is terrified of the LGBTQ plus community, organized funding groups like Human Rights Campaign, not approving of his message on this, and he's hoping that other people won't notice.
Larry, I don't think he's terrified. I think that's the MAGA boogeyman that you guys are trying to plant. I think he just has a genuine concern for those in that community, and I think that's fine. You don't have to be afraid. And look, and I think the issues of lesbian and bisexual and gay are totally different than trans issues. And so I first heard of Gavin Newsom when he became the mayor of San Francisco in a sweeping win. It wasn't about him marrying same-sex couples. It was about him just being a really cool young person.
Well, really, but I'm talking about his national profile.
All right, guys, I got to stop.
I follow up real fast, though.
I say all that to say
I
don't think that. Go ahead, Mark.
In my heart, I want to spend the hour on Gavin Newsom, but we can't. I'll just say, sorry, we got to move. I apologize. I'll just say in conclusion, Governor Newsom, meet me camera 2. Come on the show and tell us if you want to do a do-over. If you're watching now, call in because we'd love you to say whether you'd want to do a do-over. Cozy Earth, our sponsor, they've been our sponsor for a long time. 20% off everything on the site right now with the promo code two-way. This morning we showed you a little puppy who had swiped the owner's bubble cuddle blanket, and I've warned all of you, you got to buy 2. Well, here's a household that needs to buy 3 because here's another puppy, same household. This is Penny, Polly's roommate. And she also likes the bubble cuddle blanket. Penny and Polly both, and told by the owner she also likes the striped sheets. So buy yourself 3. If you got 2 dogs, you're gonna have to buy 3. The bubble cuddle blanket, favorite of animals and small children. Jessica, your 12-year-old would love this, I guarantee it. Very soft. Towel sheets, everything now, 20% off on CozyEarth.com. Use the promo code Mark for 20 or two-way rather for 20% off. Start the new year off right. and give your home the luxury it deserves and make your home the best part of life. Head to CozyEarth.com, promo code two-way.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and two-way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.